Hey y'all, it's your girl Jada Vasser, and this is All Shade of Chocolate, where I'm bringing the sweetest, the hottest black culture to MSU. It's still getting used to saying that intro, but we're gonna keep it rolling. How y'all doing? It's about to be spring break. I'm tired. I don't know about y'all. When I leave this recording, I'm going back to bed because this was the longest week ever to get to spring break. But we got somebody new. Victoria?
Hi.
This is her first time podcasting, y'all. Don't do too much for her. But what a better podcast to come on to All Shade of Chocolate. I'm going to get you real comfortable. We're going to have a good time today. So if you want to start seeing what you do at the state news, what got you to the state news, how you're liking it so far, and just, introduce us to you.
Well, hi, I'm Victoria Winfield. I'm a sophomore journalism major. This is my first semester working at the state news. I got hired over Christmas break, which was a lot of fun. I found out I got the job when I was working at my candy store job, and I was I ran to the back and picked up Liz's call. But it's been a great time. I'm a general assignment reporter on the Life Desk, which I really like because I have a bit of fluidity in what I can do. I feel like if I want to maybe try and do a political story, I can. I got to write about situationships as well as cover a banned book discussion. So I've been having a lot of fun, and I feel like I've been learning a lot while working here about journalism and just about what it means to be a part of a newsroom.
Yeah, and first of all, when I met this girl, she's so sweet. The way she's on the mic, she's super sweet. We talked for a long time about so much different stuff, and I was like, yeah, I need to, one, bring you an All Shade Chocolate, but really, really happy that you're here. You're such a good addition to the state news. And you said your own life, and it's funny how you gave your little origin story of the call, because I also got hired over Christmas break when I got to the state news. I didn't come in the fall. I came in the spring. So I came in when everybody kind of was already knew what they were doing. They kind of were in their roles and things like that. And I walked in and I was like, wow, this newsroom is huge. And I'm new and y'all know how to do this job and I don't. So it's funny how you say that because I came to the state news the same way. But I'm glad that you're adjusting well and you're writing your stories. I've seen the stuff you write, girl. This girl can write. Okay? She can write down. And I don't say that about a lot of people, but you can write. You can write. And I love the Life Desk. So I love everything that the desk, stands for and the things you guys write. It's important. So I really like it. But today, we're talking about partying. And as a sophomore, I remember back in the day when I was a sophomore, about two years ago now, we look at the clock, I'm a little old, y'all, 2 years ago, and partying was the thing. Now, of course, we go to Michigan State University, and if you know anything about Michigan State University, when I told my high school I was going to MSU, it was yay, and oh, you about to be drunk every day. And I was like, oh, wait, what do you mean I'm about to be drunk every day? They was like, oh, you haven't heard? I said, heard what? Now, I wanted to come to MSU because my older sister graduated from here. I knew the college like the back of my hand. She was in comm arts. I'm a comm arts major, so it's I already knew the structure of the campus before I got here. So I said, yeah, this is my passion. But they were like, oh, so you're just about to be partying every night. I said, who? And what are we talking about? Now, when I got here, I learned exactly what they were talking about. So first of all, are you a partier? Do you consider yourself a partier? Is it getting old to you now? Do you still find fun doing it? Do you go out with your friends? You got the friends you hit up hey, we about to go out tonight. What's your partying vibe?
I would say I'm not much of a partier, just because I don't feel like I'm out every single weekend. I feel like I do love that low-key, just being able to go hang out in a low-key setting with some friends for sure. But when they come up, certain events, I know we are going out St. Patrick's Day. They already mentioned in the group chat, we are going out. We're going to be out Hunter Park, at the Darties. So I feel like that's something if there's that event for it, for sure. So if there's a big event, I feel like my friends are going to go out and try and party. One thing I'll say is I feel like we have to buy tickets before a lot of the time. I kind of prefer if we go to schoolhouse or frat house, just because at least you can go there, maybe have to pay right when you get there versus buy a ticket. It might fall through. It might end up at some random restaurant. It can be kind of a little whatever. But yeah, I feel like when the opportunity presents itself, I'm going to try and go out and party for sure.
Yeah, no, I definitely feel you with that. When I came to MSU, I was here with my twin sister, so that was kind of fun as far as not really having to navigate going to parties by yourself or going with people that you kind of don't know for real yet. And I feel like that's kind of a big thing that started to turn me away from parties is because, even though I went with my twin sister's name is Janae, so even though Janae was there and, it's some of the girls that we met in the dorms and whatnot, I don't know, it just never stuck with me. I wouldn't consider myself a partier either, and I also wouldn't consider myself a bar person either, because obviously I turned 21. You go to the bars, you get that experience. You know, you see what type of bars you like, what drinks you like. But it didn't click. It doesn't do nothing for me. Like, I know people get to the bars and they want to dance, they want to party, the music is going. It doesn't do that for me. I'm very much I'm a party at my house type of person. If you know me and my sister, or if you've seen us in the dorms, if you came to one of our apartments, we do a lot of themed holiday parties. So like this past Valentine's Day, we had a Valentine's Day party. Now that was fun. But I'd much rather, you know, get all the experience at my home because I'm comfortable. I'm around people I really, really know, because I don't bring nobody at my house I don't know. And, you know, I'm making the drinks. You don't got to worry about a lot of the safety concerns. It's my bathroom. You know, just a lot of, it's my food. You know, like, it's a lot of stuff that I feel like I don't have to worry about that you kind of do have to take into consideration while going out to party that I feel like a lot of people don't. And that's where a lot of, you know, situations happen. And that's why I really try to stress, like, if you do go to a party, please go with people you know. And please go with people that you trust, that if you get messed up, they will take care of you and they will bring you back and you will get back safe. Because, you know, a lot of people, I'm not about to try to throw myself out there, but we had the thing where you woke up, you like, how did I get here? I don't remember how I got back to my bed, and I don't remember who brought me here and how I got this water, but at least if you have those friends, you could try to put those pieces together. But I wanted to really talk about this because I feel like there's layers to partying and going out to party, especially going to PWI while you're black. Because I feel like just as much as you go to, you know, the classroom scenes and you don't see a lot of black people, it's kind of the same way when you go to some of these parties. Like, I know, you know, there's chats like the Black Girl Party chat and Black Girl MSU where they post a lot of the black hosted event stuff. But when I started as a freshman, I went to a lot of the white parties. Like, there's a lot of white kids there, and, you know, obviously people are partying, they're already kind of drunk, but you still get the awkward stares. You still get the kind of the what are you doing here type of thing, or who invited you sort of thing. So has that been your experience? Like, have you had any wild party experiences? Have you had any scary experiences? Like, what's been your thing with the party?
I would say, as it relates to maybe going to some of like the like frats and like kind of like white parties in that space, one was like Schoolhouse. Me and my friends have had a good time at Schoolhouse, at least to the degree of them being like welcoming. Yeah. They give out twisted teas. Or at least like they're very generous at Schoolhouse. But I do feel like that is something I've been aware of. Like, I had a friend, and unfortunately she hurt her knee in one of those like frat houses, so we had to get her like out of there, and it was a situation she had to go to the hospital. But I do remember it was something important thing. She was like out there, like we were waiting for an Uber outside, and this kid just gave me this funny look, like, are you one of her friends? I'm like, I don't, you know, it's like 5 of us here.
Yeah.
Maybe, probably. Like, I'm not surprised. But I think there were certain moments where I could look around and realize, like, it's important to still have each other's backs and just be acutely aware, like, okay, maybe we are the only, like black girls up in this party. That doesn't mean we're not going to have a fun time. Kind of thing. We was having a lot of fun at Schoolhouse. Actually, I feel like we could have a really fun time there easily, but if something like that, where like a friend gets injured, it's important that like it kind of felt like a lot of other people showed up and tried to like sweep in and like do stuff, and people were drunk and just like yelling in her face. And it's like, I think when stuff like that comes down to it, it's like there is still, I feel like, having to watch your back there. Yeah. Like in that way, for sure.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. And I've definitely had a few instances where, like, you know, something happens or somebody gets hurt, or, you know, somebody, they're just too drunk, and you're like, okay, we can't stay here. So have you ever had a thing where, kind of like when you say your friend hurt her knee, where you were just like, you know what, we're gonna go home, and maybe your friends didn't want to leave? How do you handle partying to where, like, you're ready to go, like, you at the door, and you're like, I've had enough tonight, it's over, it's dead, I'm not feeling it, but they're still like, no, another hour, another 30, but you can just tell it's not good. How do you handle that with your friends? Because that can get a little messy too.
That's a hard one to navigate. Because I had that recently, like a week or two ago, where I think I was just tired. It wasn't even like I wasn't having the most fun at that point. You can bring in like any drink, period. So if you want to bring in a bottle of water, and they didn't have water in there, so I'm like, there's no food.
What we doing?
Drink. Like, I'm thirsty. I'm tired. Yeah. So it was less like the party environment, but also more like it was just physically exhausting. And I remember having a friend, and she did want to stay a bit longer, and I'm like, I don't want to be a party pooper. I don't want to be all whatever. So I think I did try and kind of like ride it out, but sometimes I'm not going to lie. I think I encouraged. I was like, hey, what if we catch an Uber soon? You know, it's $5. I always do that. If it's cheap, I'm like, okay, it's a $5 Uber, you guys. Like,
listen, let me tell you better get them deals, because Uber, Lyft, all of that, they will rise the next second you click on that app, and then they'll lower again. So I definitely done that too. I'm like, if we don't get it now, we not leaving. Like, it's going to be $10 in a minute. Come on.
No, girl.
But yeah, that's so interesting that you say that. So I want to, like, you know, open the floor back to you. Like, if you have any like points you want to talk about as far as partying. I don't have a lot of outward party experiences. Like I said, I party at my house, so I do a lot of the theme parties there. But like, yeah.
I mean, I guess like one thing I'd say I feel like that happens for us as Black students on campus is that like I heard it was 6 of the D9 are like represented on campus, and none of them have houses. And me and my sister have had this conversation about how that's the case across the country, where a lot of D9 sororities and fraternities do not really have houses, especially not on their campuses. I think even like some of the HBCUs it might be that way. But that's something on campus. Like if I really wish that there was that kind of vibe. I wish that we would be able to go to those spaces for a couple of reasons. Like one, you can almost ensure it's MSU students. Because a couple of friends, we went to Hunter Park. This was last year, I think around May. And, it's a park. It's in Lansing. Anybody can show up. A lot of people in the chats don't go here. And I remember there was a kid, he'd recently gotten out of jail, like I think 8 days prior. And I forget what he said it was for, but it was manslaughter. And he was talking very salaciously to our group, and he scared us. He was smoking a Newport cigarette in our face. It was just a lot happening. And I remember my friend's sister was picking us up, and I was like, hey, is your sister on her way? She better come get us. It was like a moment, the whole table, I'm like, we should all just leave. Every lady here, we should go home. Because it wasn't like safe, or it didn't feel safe in every moment, or like, there was a kid one time. It was weird because Hunter Park is so like it's near a park. So I remember there was a kid just hanging out by the party. And there was nothing wrong with him being near the park. But it's like there's people drinking and smoking and doing all sorts of stuff over here. Like whose child is this?
Man, where's your parents at?
No, for real. And
what's happening?
Literally, I did not see those parents. And people kept going up to the kid like, "Oh, hey, are you okay? Are you okay?" And like this poor kid has all these drunk people coming up to him, and like I think he was enjoying the party. I think he knew he shouldn't have been.
At that point.
He honestly was a little bit.
At that point, you're who we're here to see. We didn't come for nothing else but you, obviously. Right. But no, you bring up a good point, especially about the D9s. I wish that like, when obviously, I feel like there's a lot of false advertisement that comes with Michigan State being a party school, especially if you're a Black student, because the advertisement of the parties is the white parties. It's the white frats. It's the white, the dorm parties you have. It's all the events that, like, even at the bars, the crowd that you expect at the bars is the white kids. So even going to those spaces to where they have those events like St. Patty's Day or, Valentine's Day, Halloween. I went out with my friends. They go to U of M. They came up here and we spent Halloween here. And we decided to go to the bars because we were all finally 21. So we was like, okay, let's go out to the bars. Let's see what's happening. And that just really put in perspective, like, no, I really need to find, like, where the Black hosted parties are, because you get a more sense of comfortability being with your people, And I feel like, especially with parties, it's easier, at least for me, I feel like in a personal sense, to let loose more a little bit when I'm in those senses. Now, granted, okay, I'm going to put my hands up. I'm going to be the Black person that say it. Black people kind of do too much sometimes, okay? Sometimes, especially with parties and drinks get involved, other stuff get involved. We can do too much too, okay? I admit it.
Scrolling left and right does get a little too much. I've shown like 20 times. I love it. But I've had friends get hit, have drinks knocked out their hands, get yelled at. I've had my hair pulled because we was in the way. And I understand that it needs to be clear. I'm not trying to be, but when you say that, there's certain elements you wouldn't expect.
I have a great time, but I'm gonna leave it at that. But I feel like that false advertisement comes because you see Michigan State and it's so big. So like it could be 25, 30 parties happening in one night. And you got your group and you're like, oh, we're gonna go here, we're gonna stay here for this long, then we're gonna hit there, It's gonna be 2 a.m., we're gonna be there. And I really wish that there was more outward advertisement for those Black parties, especially for the younger Black kids that's coming in. And you're in the dorm for the first time, or that big, holiday, Halloween, for example, you've been doing the classes. You're like, okay, I want to dress up and I want to go out and I want to be on the street. Like you see the college kids going in their costumes and it's a fun time, but you just don't know where to go. And you're really just kind of like, aimlessly walking, and I feel like that can be pretty lonesome because you're like, dang, everybody got their group and their friends, and even if they don't, the people that, you go with a stranger and y'all kind of drunk, y'all clicking, where's that for me? So and then I also don't know how, like, advertising for that would go, but I wish they were more outward, kind of like what you said with D9 having houses. I feel like that would be such a huge game changer because you would see that crowd and you would see the demographic out there more, because I also feel like a lot of the Black parties are not on like Michigan State campus anyway, or they're not that close. So it's also kind of sucky if you don't have transportation to get there, you already don't know somebody who's going to be there to be like, hey, I'll come get you. It's kind of hard to get there and find your crowd because you kind of got to do a little extra work to get to them. So that's kind of a thing. Like, do you kind of feel the same way? Like, do you see it getting to a point where party life could be more inclusive as far as like incorporating those other demographics? Or do you kind of see it as a thing where, like, you know, the Black community, they found their space, they know that they can make their mark here, kind of things like that? They don't want to incorporate, because that's kind of how I feel.
Like, into, like, the other, like, kind of...
Yeah,
like,
I feel like we kind of
culture.
found we're group. We kind of found where we can go. We can have fun, let loose. So why try to move it together, sort of thing?
I don't mind the idea of like having it be more together, because I think it would also, at least hopefully in my mind, set a certain precedent of like, let's say there was like a booming Black frat house on Grand River, and maybe they're throwing some really cool parties, everyone wants to go, as well as maybe they're a bit more open with who they're letting in, because I know like I've had friends who feel like they can't get into certain frats and then kind of feel like it's a racially motivated thing, where it's like, I know like guys, I know they have a heck of a time getting into frats, and then I know I've had some where they're like, no, this is a frat, where it's like they didn't want to let any of us in, it doesn't really matter, and on top of that we have other POC friends who were not let in, kind of thing. I kind of feel like I would like that rivalry of it. Like I don't mind some of like the integration, like I don't mind, like I love it in terms of a party scene, but I also can't understand as Black folk feeling just like safer in a space where it's like, okay, we know like we can like listen to our movies, do like not movies, music, or like the certain things like the Tamia Shuffle. I'm like, every Black event I go to, it's a Tamia Shuffle, and like there's a culture. There really is a coming together, and I think a celebration, and I think there is an importance to it still, especially on this campus, because I really am someone who I feel as though I wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't for growing up in diverse spaces, for having friends of different cultures, but coming to Michigan State and being able to really feel immersed in my culture and just feel like I'm connecting and learning things and realizing, dang, I need to learn how to do this shuffle. Try the turbo shuffle, but that was a little scary. That was scary.
Okay,
you know. So I feel as though like it is really cool. Like I feel like the Multicultural Center kind of strikes how it's important for us to come together, but I do think it is important that as Black students we would have spaces that we could consistently go to come together, because I don't feel like there's a consistent space. How some people they can go to, I mean obviously there's the bars, but even certain frat houses, some people like this is my frat I'm going to every weekend, they're throwing this party, this and this, and I think that is lacking for Black students, unfortunately. And like I think even in the case of like the Qs, like they have a house. I forget that they have a house sometimes just because it's in Lansing, but it's like, let's say that was closer, people might be more willing to go there, and like, you know, because you don't have to Uber, hopefully, in that case. So I do think it's important that I guess we can have some spaces that at least, especially in the frat spaces, that are much more integrated. You don't feel like I'm not getting let into this party because I'm a guy or because like I'm this race. But I also do think it's important that like we as Black students can find a way to like consistently foster that, because I think it's just, you know, it's not always fun having to go to a random location that's not always even like fire code safe, you know, in order to party. And a lot of them are not. Like, a lot of them are there. They're not. There's this one club I went to, and I was like, so there's one door exit, and I think the door pushed into, and it was something crazy. It was like if you walking out and you'd have to push the door in, and it was packed with people. And I remember before my friends and I left, and the fire department had pulled outside, and I was like, it makes sense. There's like 300 people in there, and there's one door. No.
So one door.
Right. I'm like, a fire breaks out, like everybody, like
nobody's getting out of there.
We're not. Like I used to watch all these little YouTube videos about things like that, and like why we have things, why we have doors that push out, why we have fire escape. And that's one of those things I'm like, I want to party, but I don't want to. I don't want to die.
Okay,
I do not want to die.
This is not going to be my last moment. No. But no, you also brought up. You bring some really good points for this episode. Another one being like, which I feel like is what can make or break a good party, is the music, and I kind of feel like that ties into why a lot of my like bar hopping experiences, or you know, the parties I went to, and like, hey, come here, and I'm like, okay, what I'm doing the thing, it's because of the music. Now me, if you ask Jada the type of music Jada listens to, I listen to a lot of old school rap music, so I can assure you that the music that I want to vibe to and party to and dance to, it's not typically played at these, you know, locations. So this brings up a great question: what is your party song when you're getting ready to go out? What's on your playlist? What's coming across that Apple Music or that Spotify? Not hating, Apple Music is better, but I'm not hating.
No, I'm Apple Music girl.
Oh, there we go. There we go. But what's coming across your Apple Music when you're getting ready to go out?
For sure, Doja Cat. She's my girl. A lot of people who know me know, like, I love Doja Cat down. Her, for sure. I'm into Mona Leo. Mona Leo, she is lyrically really, really smart. Like, I just like how her references and little things.
I love her. I follow her on TikTok. She's hilarious.
She is. No, so I feel like she, like, she had the song Passenger Princess, and then Flush 'Em, which I like. I feel like Flush 'Em would be a really good, like, a man screwed you over song. Like like so I feel like she's good at least for that hype up music. And then of course like Megan Thee Stallion, Glorilla, like certain artists like that, I feel like they're gonna be in rotation. But I wish I could hear them going out. It's frustrating having to play the music you want to hear before the party, and then you go out and it's like, I'm not expecting every song I like to be played. I'm not expecting to even hear like one song that's on my personal playlist, but like, why aren't the songs like, I don't know, for more, I think there could be a more diverse song.
For sure. And I feel like it's a vibe killer sometimes because, you know, like, oh, and then even places where, you know, you can like request songs. I've definitely seen like a song we requested and the DJ's kind of like, okay, like looking and then, you know, typing on his computer to add in it, but he's definitely like, oh, why are we playing this song? And then obviously a song come on that you know, black community or black people know, we hype, we turn it up, then the white people just kind of over there looking like, oh, you know, like trying to fake dance, but then obviously you can tell they're getting uncomfortable. And especially if they're like the majority in the space, it kind of, I find it an interesting perspective when it's like, dang, we were vibing to y'all music hard and maybe we didn't like it, or, you know, we didn't care too much for it, but we still found the dance, we still found joy in it. And maybe just because our songs have a faster beat or the lyrics may be, I'm not even gonna say more vulgar, because there's some white songs that's vulgar too, but maybe if the lyrics may not be what you're used to, you shuffling off to the corner like wall dancing, and then the dance floor is just now empty and it's only those black people that's now out there. Like, it kind of sucks how even music, like, I see that it is a sense of really bringing people together, but like people aren't ready to say, oh, that can be good music too, just because they're not used to it, you know? So I definitely feel like the music in these spaces, and like, kind of like you said, like if a lot of these places that the black parties are hosted at are, you know, the vibes for like Hunter Park, you know, places like this, if we could find spots like that closer to Michigan State, I definitely feel like it could make the transition to college more welcoming. Because I also feel like, tying back into my false advertisement thing of partying, in general with college, I feel like you get that point in high school when you're like, you're a senior, you're about to graduate, and they're like, oh, are you going to be a partier? Are you going to be studying? Are you going to make sure your grades is good? You going to be going out on the weekend? Like, what's going on? So you kind of hype yourself up to be like, oh yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? These parties are about to be what everybody's talking about. And you kind of get to them and you're like, this is not what y'all was, especially my sister, like hearing her party stories, I was like, you make me not want to go out, or you make it seem like they were the best thing ever. But when the Michigan State she went to isn't the Michigan State I go to, especially with everything that's happened in the Michigan State, and just after all these events we witnessed, it's like, dang, how do we get that back? Like, how do we get back there to what it was when, even like when she was there, you know? But I feel like a lot of stuff that takes collaboration from more than just us, which is what we're fighting in a lot of different scenarios, not just partying. It's us, you know, we're willing to do the change, but if they're not willing to match it, then it's not a lot that can be done. Just because of how many of us is here in general.
No, absolutely. And you say that my sister, she also like went here, she graduated in 2022, I believe. It's 2022. Mm-hmm. But she, I mean, I know she was going out. Like, I remember her freshman year, we got some calls back home. Like, it was that serious how she was going out. And on one hand, I would attribute it to like, one, she was, I know, in like North neighborhood, and so I just know that like, one, you're closer to Grand River, like you're already just really close to Grand River, as well as I want to say that I don't think that North is like as integrated. Like, I know that like her friend group, just that like kind of for some of college was just predominantly white, and there's nothing wrong with it, but I know that she was able to party a lot more. That's one thing that I distinctly recall, is I'm just like, oh no, you were partying more. Like, not only you had these good friends, but you know, you were also going out to party in these spaces. And I have noticed that just with a couple people, so it's kind of anecdotal, but I've noticed it with a couple other people who I know exist in spaces where maybe like it is like more predominantly white, and they're able to party more. And like, I know that they're telling me about this party going out and this party, and I'm like, dang, how is this? And I think it's one, because they have the frats as well as the access, but it does kind of feel like something has even just changed, like timing wise, because that was also pre-COVID is another huge thing of when she was having those experiences. Like, part of me attributed it to being able to go to the frats more because like just her friend group, but also I think that COVID in some ways did stuff, and it just feels like when you go out, people aren't as happy. I don't know, like it feels like either like I don't know if like the music isn't hitting as much. Like, I don't know if TikTok did something, because it does feel hard to put your finger on it. I actually could say TikTok a little bit, because certain songs will come. I remember this one song came on like last week, and I remember it was like everyone started busting out this little TikTok dance. I'm like, oh, I've seen the videos for this. Yeah. I didn't practice that name. Like,
man, I'm standing around.
No, like I'm like I tried to hit it a little bit. I was like, I mean, let me try, but it was just funny because I was like, wow. Like I feel like ever since like even like just junior year and getting back in these spaces, I feel like once TikTok blew up, it felt like the music you hear going out like completely changed because so much of it, even the charts, are informed by TikTok. So it's like, I mean, even if it's at the top of the Billboard 100, like 10 seconds of it might be why it is. That was when I just noticed, like, music-wise, and I think this could be, like, any party with certain songs that might come on. Yeah. But, like, I do feel like, at least when we would go to Skullhouse, it would be, like, almost like a set playlist. Like, I feel like you could request a different song, but we were hearing the same songs. And, I mean, the nice thing was you knew all the words. Like, that is the nice thing. It's like, do I don't know, this Katy Perry song? Maybe not, but I know all the words.
Maybe not, but I'm singing along to it tonight, and that's all that matters. No. You bringing up some good points for this episode, because I definitely agree with you where you said, you know, having more of those white friends definitely gets you more access to certain things. Because I definitely noticed that too when me and Janae lived our freshman year and our sophomore year. I'm a Brody girl. I stand Brody down. Brody's the best neighborhood. No arguments. Don't argue with me in these comments, okay? But where we lived on the floor we lived, you know, we lived in an all-girls floor, and we were the only two black girls on the floor. Our first year, we were the only two black girls. So getting out into that party scene, we had, of course, a lot of white friends that lived on the same floor. We hung out, you know, in their rooms. They came in our rooms, things like that. And we always ask the same question, like, when Janae, if you know my sister Janae, she's much more of a talker than me. She's way more social, so she would be in these girls' rooms getting all the tea, all the information, and then relaying it back to me. I definitely send her as my little scout, like, you go figure out what they doing, you go figure it out, and then come back to me and we'll discuss together. But she'll come back and she's like, yeah, they're partying down here on Grand River, they're gonna hit up this place, and I'm like, hold on. These two girls can't have all these people that they know. Like, these two girls just can't have all the stops of the town in this one night. And I really think it's because when you get in these spaces for partying, that's their crowd. You know, this is their people. This is the, you know, the people they're expecting. This is who they want to see. This is who they want to see come up. So they're going to have all the stops because they know either the frats that's hosting it or the party hosters or the bars in general expect these people to come. So I think a lot of it could tie into when you get those people they may not expect. It's like we don't know how to handle it, because of course we're always going to tailor to our majority because they're the majority. You know, they come in every week, every Wednesday, you know, we have, you know, a deal going on. They come in and they show up and they show out. So when we get these different people that want to kind of fluctuate in, I feel like that's where the merging part kind of gets hard, because, you know, no bar is going to change their set list if 90% of the people are singing and then one song comes on and the 10% start singing. They're going to keep playing the songs that the 90% want to hear. But I do feel like we also don't have like that one space that tailors to kind of both, because I also don't think places don't expect both. I feel like that's been a thing. They don't expect black people, you know, of course both of us being black, they don't expect the black people to go out to these type of events, to go out to these parties in the first place. And then also when they do, it's not a lot. So I also feel like, say if it was more like 20 or 30 that went in a group, like you see all those long lines at the bars be, if we were in those lines too, I think that's where we could see change. But kind of like we said earlier, we've kind of found the space already. So we go if we want to, or like if somebody invite us, we go. But it's not like a meet me here. Like, you know, they got this deal going on, meet me here, that I can for sure tell you that that's where, you know, all the girls get up and they get dressed, and all the girls in our dorm, that's exactly what they used to do. They'd be like, no, they're expecting us, we got to be here at this time. And I'm like, dang, where's that for us? Kind of like you said, where's that for us? Where's the, okay, it's going down at this time, be here? I don't see that. We have to go out off campus. At least in my experience, you have to go off, you know, and that's where you find it. But you can't always get off campus all the time when you just want to go out, quickly get out and go have some fun. Sometimes it don't work out like that. So I definitely agree to that. And then, yeah, just better music. I also feel like TikTok with music, people learn those 30 seconds and then don't know the rest of the song, so then they get dead, and then playing the same song over and over again. It's cool and all, but like, if I'd have heard, I don't even know what song popular on TikTok right now, but if I'd have heard it 3 times, I don't want to hear it a 4th. Like, if I heard it 4 times, I don't want to hear it a 5th. Like, we definitely got our cup and it's full. Let's get different. Let's get a little different.
Also, I think throwbacks. There should be some space for a few throwbacks.
2000, early 2000, I'm down.
No, right? You know? Or even songs that like maybe was popular in like 2016, where it's like,
I'm
because
not mad
of
at
our
that.
age, we would like know it. Like those kind of like,
yes.
I'll be surprised to hear Bodak Yellow, but would I be mad? No. Because I'm like,
no.
oh, okay, you throwing it back, you're giving us a little song. Like, it's not actually that old of a song, but at least
it really isn't, honestly. And then even with DJs, like, okay, that's showing your diversity. You can hit, because obviously we 20, we 19, 20, 21 now, but we were 14, 15, 16 listening to these songs. So I feel like we got to the age where it could be like, oh, I used to listen to that when I was a kid, or when I was in high school, when I was in middle school, they used to play this song all the time. We would sing this in the hallways. So yes, I would not be mad at that. Please play early 2000s, 2010s. No, I'm not mad at that. That's nostalgia to me. That's the stuff I party to. Like, not, I don't really party the newer songs that come out. I play a lot of older songs, because you get the, oh, remember when this song came out? Or when you remember the dance, the old dance, not on TikTok. When TikTok wasn't a thing, it was on YouTube with it, Musically, all that. When they used to make dances for that. Remember we used to be doing them dub smashes in the hallway? All of that. I'm not mad at that either. Yeah, no, I definitely agree.
That was such, like, I think, a time. And I think it's like, we also forget how it was informed by, like, a different type of social media. Obviously, the videos were short. I mean, Vines were like 6 seconds long, so I feel like there's not much you can do there in that capacity. But for some reason, it still didn't feel like the attention span hit that, like, TikTok does. I don't know. I mean, maybe it was in a way, I just wasn't realizing it at the time. But I feel like even, like, I think because it was more for humor, it meant that the music was less informed. But I think TikTok having this blend of that music means that, like, that's how those songs blow up. But like you said, like, I feel like there's a lot of throwbacks where it's the best feeling. You at a party, you play a song, someone's like, I haven't heard this in years. That's the best song. Like, that actually, like, I remember I had, like, a get together, like a little while ago, and it was exactly that, where I'd played a song and someone was like, oh my gosh, I haven't heard this.
And I feel like it connects, because it's like, oh snap, you know that song? Yeah, I know that song. You know that song? Yeah, I know that song. Then I feel like that gets you talking to people too, because you see somebody sing their lyrics and you're like, okay, I'm about to jump in your video and sing. We about to do this little cute thing. I definitely feel like that helps, get people more comfortable in the space too. So yeah, I think music plays a big part. So okay, we talked about a lot with partying. So what would be your, if you had to, tell our lovely audience here, or somebody who's watching this and like, I want to get into partying, I don't know where to start, what to do. What are your do's and don'ts? Like, flat line, this is what you do, this is what you don't do. What would you tell somebody?
Do go out with people you trust. I've never, like, personally felt like I've been out with anyone where I'm like, I can't trust you. Like, everyone I feel like I've ever partied with within my friend group, I've felt like we're safe, we're good people. Or at the very least, you should have, like, one person that, like, you genuinely, like, this person has my back. Because, I mean, I have a friend, and she had a friend that told her, like, oh, like, if you get into a situation, if you start acting a fool while drunk, I'm going to leave you. And I was like, please don't go out with this girl, because that's not how, you don't want to be like Yara Shahidi in the episode, a Grownish, or like her character in the show, not her, but the character where the poor girl got sick in the thing and she ran away.
She ran away.
Because it's college. Nobody is ever going to look at you crazy for going and helping out a drunk person or someone who's vomiting, especially if that's your friend, especially if you came with them. That's like you're obligated to do that.
They'll look at you crazy for leaving them.
They'll be like, your friend just ran out on you? That's cold-blooded.
Yes.
So I would say being sure that you're going out with groups you feel, like, safe in. Like, that was a decision I made, like, freshman year. We was all hanging out with the people on the floor, I remember. And my roommate at the time said something to me that got under my skin. I was like, this is not the right group. And on top of this isn't a group I feel like I'm going to go and be my best self and have a good time. And that wasn't even for partying, but I remember, like, it's important to pick up on small little things and say, let me make an active choice right now to go and choose other people. And I did, and I had a much better time that year. But I just know that, like, the people you choose are going to really dictate how the party goes. I think having some good fun party people. It's always be good to know, like, who you going out with and what that vibe is. Another do I would say is getting into, like, one of, like, the Black Parties group chats. One of the best parties I ever went to was Omar's birthday party. I don't know who Omar is. Shout out Omar. But, like, no, like, it was so fun. And it was a little apartment party. And we had to Uber there. I had a friend from home. She ended up showing up that day. And, like, my phone died, but before it died, I sent her the address so she was able to get there. But it was fun for a number of reasons. And it was really, like, you can't get that on campus a lot. So I feel like being in those group chats allows you to, like, sometimes people are throwing stuff like that. That was a rare thing. I haven't seen many of those, but I do really think that it's actually worth showing up to and, like, actually being in those group chats, because, like, one, when things are happening on campus, like, sometimes you'll find out sooner in the group chat than anywhere else. It will be in those group chats. But also, it's like, I just think it's so much more fun that way. Like, I think it's fun, and then, like, people are funny. There's I love those groups. So I think I would recommend that. And so I think the people make the party. And also, I'd also recommend people eat before they drink. I feel like that's such a basic one, but I'm like, if a freshman were to be watching this, I'm like, I don't know. Like,
please eat something before you drink. I'm not saying have a 5-course meal, but have something on your stomach before you and just liquor. Please.
It's just the recipe. It's
You'll
like
have a
2
good
plus
day.
2 equal 4. No food and alcohol equal vomit.
Yes,
like,
you'll thank me later. You'll thank me later. But yeah, so what are some don'ts then for partying?
I would say don't go without a hoodie when it gets cold. That's a specific to Michigan State thing. Bring that jacket. People want to go and look cute, and I tried to do that on Halloween, and I was miserable. And like, I think people thought I was mad at them. I was mad at the weather. I was mad at myself for being so silly to not bring my hoodie, because I'm such a I'm a religiously hoodie person. It comes with me wherever I go. And I just see so many people that look cold, and I think alcohol will give you a jacket, but at the same time, when it's 10 degrees out,
when it wear off, it get cold real fast.
You're trying to risk hypothermia for what? Ricks?
And look, I'm all for a good cute picture. Take that jacket off, get your pictures, and put it back on. You ain't never said truer statements.
No, take the cute photos.
Take the coat, take the jacket, please. You'll thank yourself later. Take the coat, please.
Yeah, that's what it's like. Never leave without that jacket. Once it gets cold, you just can't. We're Michigan State.
Yeah.
I wish we were FAMU. I wish we were in a warm location where that wasn't an issue. Low-key be jealous of people partying. We go to Tulane. That's where my mom went, and we visited in Christmas break. And it was so interesting to think you guys can party year-round. This whole year round, you can just go, and then you're in this city that's very conducive with they don't care that much down there. And not in a bad way. And it's just they're chill. If I'm with my mom, I know they might just give me a little rosé. They might, because they're so nice down there, kind of thing. But yeah, for sure. Yeah, I guess I'd say bringing the jacket. And be mindful if you're buying the tickets ahead. For black parties, buying those tickets ahead is so risky. I know I've personally lost out because I had a bunch of friends. We got scammed for a party, Halloween 2023. And sometimes it falls through. We ended up at a different location this past week, and I remember thinking, why are we in these people's restaurant? I'm thankful that they let us have a party here, but to another extent, there's different codes and things that means that we can't party a certain way at this specific location. And it ends up, you start to feel out of place. And I think there can sometimes feel that, dang, I wish we just had a big old frat house on Grand River that I could go to consistently every Friday and say they're almost always throwing a party. I think there can that comes out a little bit. So I think I would recommend people do what you do, which is have house parties if you can, dorm parties, that kind of thing. Because that's always where it's the most fun and the most safe. Because some people, there are criminals, and with black parties, it's not, they ain't checking your ID for most of them to go into some places, so you're getting everybody.
That's definitely true. I definitely agree. Yeah, my do's and don'ts. Yeah, eat before you leave out. Get, a definitely safe circle. Don't fall for the scams, okay? People get real creative with these fake texts and these fake emails and these fake flyers. So just, cross-correct and check it with somebody else. Hey, have you seen this floating around? And you plan on going to this, plan on going to that? Most times when people are no, I haven't heard of that. I don't know what that is. Most of the time that mean it ain't nothing, Just let it go. And you brought a really good point, too. No, location matters. It matters a lot. Because if you plan and you're okay, I want to black out. I want to have a really good time. Make sure the location that this place is at, you are able to do that. Because if you are going somewhere and there's supposed to be a party and you are not able to have that fun or party the way that you want to, it's either A, going to ruin the night, or B, you're going to party the way you want to and get looked at as you crazy or get thrown out. So save yourself the hassle and the trouble of making a complete fool out of yourself, and just really make sure you verify location, if it's going to be inside or outside, because like you said, we live in Michigan. It gets a little colder in these nights. It gets in the teens, 11 degrees, 12 degrees, and make sure you just come prepared. And this ain't all to say, you have the best time possible. Yes, have your college days, because most people say that's a part of college. Go out, have your fun, but you can have your fun in a safe way, and you'll thank yourself the next day that you did it safely. But yeah, is there anything else you want to add?
My last thing would be don't drink and drive, because that is a thing around here.
Please.
I've met other small town people, and they're I wasn't drinking and driving where I come from. I'm not, the warden on everything. But that's such a please. Just don't drink and drive either. Would be my last thing.
You thank you, and the people on the road will also thank you who have to drive with you that you are drunk. Please, and that'll keep everybody safe. Which it should be common knowledge, but more people do it than you think, and it's not safe at all. It's actually pretty scary how many people think that you can drive or do anything after you've had even one drink, because you don't know what that drink is going to do to you in 30 minutes. So yes, save yourself the hassle, get an Uber with somebody, share your location details with somebody you trust who's not drinking so they can watch you, call them on the phone. Look, we were just talking about how we'd be on the phone with our sister and our mamas before we start recording. I'll call my mama in a minute. I'll be like, look, Mom, maybe a little tipsy, but I need you to watch me and Janae, so you make sure we get back in this house and the door's shut. Get you somebody like that you can call, stay on the phone with, and share that location with. All right, guys. Thank you so much, Victoria, for coming on here. It was so much fun. I hope you got a little more comfortable with podcasting, basically get you into a new field of media. And yeah, this has been On Shade to Chocolate, where
Victoria
and I have brought the sweetest, the hottest Black culture to MSU. And remember to stay sweet. Bye.